You know the phrase that pays. Kank. It's the golden hour. It's the magic hour. Your boys are back. The boys of summer and now fall have returned. That's right. When you see these three, you ready for it? Smiling angelic countenances, you know some things to be true. One, it must be Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST, somewhere on Earth. Two,
or Earth 2,
or Earth 2, Earth 616. Two, that you're about to be entertained by three expert cartoonists. Count them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Did I say? I think I already messed myself up.
And C.
And C.
Hold tab A into tab B for cartoonist.
If you see your brothers through comics on your video scope, that means it must be pinch me, I must be dreaming time. Pencil to pencil has returned. Guys, I'm very excited to be back with you on another beautiful Wednesday night. My name is JAMAR NICHOLAS. I am your first host. Let me talk about myself, if I may. Besides being a expert cartoonist, I also wear many hats. I am the second vice president of the National Cartoonist Society. That must stand for something. Also, in that vein, I'm also the chapter chair of Philadelphia Go Birds. Also, I have a graphic novel middle grade series at Scholastic Graphics. Leon the Extraordinary is the name. Leon Worst Friends Forever is in stores now. Leon 3 is on its way to you this time next year. But I would also be remiss if I did not introduce my co-host, and co-conspirator. He had a successful title defense in Poughkeepsie over the weekend. I know he's very timid. He's shy. He doesn't like to talk about his title defenses. But still the undisputed heavyweight world champion of webcomics. You know him by God, it's Stone Cold Steve Conley. What's up,
gentlemen?
So
good to see you. It's clear that my hypno glasses are not working. If you know where I was in Poughkeepsie. Have you announced the title of Volume 3 yet? Is that out?
I have not.
We're all waiting. We're all waiting.
Right.
My name is Steve Conley. I write and draw your 23rd favorite webcomic, The Middle Age, which you can read over at Webtoons, Tapas, Go Comics, and over at steveconley.com. I also make the TTRPG stuff. So if you play the Dungeons of the Dragons, check out steveconley.com and the upcoming stabracadabra.com. But I would be remiss if I didn't introduce the Tower of Power, the Man of the Hour, this Too Sweet to Be Sour, the maestro of mark making, and I believe a recent birthday haver.
Yes.
Mr. Maestro Mike Manley.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Mike.
Hello. Yeah, I just turned 64, just like the Beatles song.
Wow. I said to Mike over chat, it's Manly 64, 64-bit graphic.
64-bit graphic. Yeah. A little bit less cubey. Yeah. But
That's awesome.
I just had a very nice birthday where I worked all day. So it's just like every other day. That's what your birthday is like when you're a cartoonist. You have a deadline on Monday, you're working on your birthday. But I received a lot of great birthday wishes and cheer over social media. I mean, literally like 500-600 people wished me happy birthday. So while we can knock social media very often, it's always nice when people remember you. So
they use it for good.
We use it for good, yes. And then immediately afterwards, probably the algorithms start targeting you for Geritol and Depends and everything, all the old people stuff,
I removed my age from Facebook for the birthday thing. I think I was getting sensitive about it. I think once I crested 50, I think I thought, oh no. I don't want you guys keep that there?
It doesn't matter because I'm out on the internet through the Wikipedia and everything else, so it doesn't matter now. My name and my age is well documented. So, but I know some people get freaked out by their birthday, but I really don't. To me, it's like almost like the same day after 40, 35, 40.
Is that the stop? The hard stop is 35.
Well, it's like you look at the calendar and the calendar says you're this age, right? And I can go on Facebook in my memories and see this past week all the way back to when I was 40 something, 47 maybe. So I have all these birthday memories all the way.
I've been using the same picture of Mike for your birthday messages for some time now. So
I mean that's probably 11, 12 years old that one photo. But yeah. I mean, to me, is the only thing that really matters, I think, as an artist, is if somehow you develop a disability that limits your creativity or compromises your craft. Otherwise, I don't know, I pretty much feel the same that I've always felt. Maybe I can't work 3 days in a row with no sleep like I did when I was in my 20s, which is probably a good thing. But, I routinely work easily 10, 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. That's pretty standard for most people, especially people who do strips. So, knock on Formica that, things are still rolling along. So I don't let it, nothing I can do about it, so either you accept it, roll on, or you get hung up on it and you start like dyeing your hair and getting wigs and toupees and all that other stuff. And if that works for you, fine, right? I know a lot of people that did that. I mean, I could dye my beard. I mean, I had a lot of people tell me, "What? You're 64? You still look like you're like 50."
Well, we age differently now. Like I just saw something about Wilford Brimley. the diabetes guy. I hate how everybody's just
I'm way older than he was when he made like Cocoon.
Funneling people's ages into these things. But yeah, he was like 34 and he looked 80 because that's what the 80s did to us.
Yeah. You look at the further back you go, the older people looked. I mean, they all smoked, first of all. Yeah. Almost all those old Hollywood guys, Bogey died when he was 57. So you look at a lot of those old guys. You look at like Sean Connery at he was like 35, I think, when he made the first James Bond. He looks way older at 35 than somebody 35 now.
Well, you know what? We look a lot better now because of clean living.
Because of the vampire tan from your fluorescent light, constant, the constant steady diet of coffee.
So, this is full of Paul Rudd's blood, so I'm gonna keep chugging this.
All right, guys, let's start the show. I am very excited to bring you a special guest tonight. And what a follow-up! Didn't last week we have Raina Telgemeier and Scott McCloud on? I mean, come on, look at the star power that Pencil to Pencil provides. Right, and that's
next week Galactus.
Right, and once in a while, people ask me things like, "How you get these guests?" You don't understand. It's not hyperbole, Steve Conley. We're your expert cartoonists.
Potts Porby.
And with that, our black books are pretty heavy. So with that, I would like to tell you about. Hold on, Misako. I'm coming for you. Give me a second. MISAKO Rocks is here tonight. One of my best buds in this new weird hybrid world of cartooning we live in, right? Because nowadays, it's not just enough to do comics. It's not just enough to be a traditional book author or a mangaka or something like that. You've got to have a thousand other things spinning at the same time. Right. And I've said a million times on the show, and my co-host will agree with this, we're in an era of the multi-armed cartoonist. Right. You have to have your tentacles in a lot of different things at the same time. And MISAKO Rocks is a great example of that. And she is a dear friend. And I think you're going to learn a lot. So MISAKO, get prepared for rendering. I'm going to bring you in. Guys, welcome to Pencil to Pencil. MISAKO Rocks. Ping!
Yay! Thank you, Jamar. You're such a glue to everybody. Yeah,
I did it.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for myself.
Thank you so much. Finally, we timed the schedule because I know you asked it before. The time didn't work out, and then finally. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. When we first met, which is several years ago, I was like, oh, I love your energy and I love your take on this part of the industry. And you're, some people don't like when I say things like this. We're kind of like unicorns in a way, right? When you put what is it, a blessing of unicorns? That's a group of unicorns.
Yeah.
Right. And some people kind of bristle when you say things like that, but it's like, no one does what you do. And I think that's what makes you more than special. So I'm glad that you can share your gifts with our audience tonight. So thank you for being on.
Oh, thank you. Amazing.
So let's just kind of start at the top here. So over the past couple of years, you've been publishing manga in the United States, and also you've been teaching a lot. And also with the book part of it, you're also doing a lot of travel.
A lot. I'm in the middle of a bookstore right now.
Yeah.
Stuck in an airport long time. I flew middle of the thunder, lightning too. So the airplane, when I was talking to you the other day, the airplane was like moving like this.
Oh no.
I got so scared. I was holding a hand with the lady right next to me. We don't even know each other. Just like it's so scary.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than that. That's what. And we started talking about this in the green room before you came on about one of the kind of unseen parts of all this, and I like to call it the iceberg.
Mhm.
Like in the iceberg analogy is like people just see the tippy top, but they don't see all the stuff underneath. So can you maybe just start? How do you kind of manage all of this stuff at the same time, like the travel
Hmm.
and the calendars and the bookmaking and the being places and talking to kids? How do you do that?
Well, usually I kind of schedule everything on my phone. I don't have a calendar, so I just put everything. But what I do is when I when I'm working on the book, I just thought of only books. But when I have a little bit of time that week, I dedicate myself to only Instagram sketches, and that week I'm just gonna contact to a lot librarians and book events and stuff like that. I try to sort of like separate because I can't work on a multitask at the same time.
Hmm.
I like to
Hmm.
separate stuff like a book week, then following week it's gonna be just teaching sample week and stuff like that. That's how I sort of like maintaining schedule. It took a while to sort of like get to this kind of a rhythm. Before
Hmm.
I was doing everything at once,
Yeah.
and then I was going crazy because I couldn't organize anything, and I decided to like let's just like focus on one thing at a time, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was making sense in the end.
Now, was there a part of that where you had to learn how to make this work because you started to burn out, like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like combust in the flames, or did you figure it
yes.
out before then?
I got burned out. The thing is, I get ever since I was a kid, I get so passionate about one big project. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I sort of like, did it, just the interest kind of goes like, it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I did it. So I'm happy. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of okay, next, but I get tired. So it's kind of a same, I guess still have that kind of a same energy. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be like this, especially if you're on a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm on a book project, I make a schedule for next 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
This month it's gonna be this thumbnail, and the next month I'm gonna hopefully move it to pencil. So in
Mm-hmm.
order to move it to pencil, I have to work on at least 12 pages a day. So I usually calculate ahead of time. So I exactly know what I'm getting into. Otherwise I go crazy in the end.
Yeah.
Wait. Can I interrupt? When you say 12 pages, when you work on 12 pages a day, what stage these pages
Thumbnails,
at? Okay,
thumbnails.
okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
because otherwise, but pencil sometimes like when I was on a zone, I could do 10 pages.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I work just fast.
And is your schedule is it about the number of pages? Is it a set number of hours? Like at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. I'm going to clock out, or how do
Oh,
you?
yeah, usually sort of like I wake up really early, like 5:30. And
Mm-hmm.
I like walking really like when it's really dark, when it's really cold and nobody was like out yet. So
Yeah.
I start walking like maybe 6:30 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take a break to exercise. So during a lunchtime, I kind of come back to start working. So I think I work maybe 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not
Mm-hmm.
that I don't like I don't make myself go crazy anymore. Not like that.
not
Because
not
yeah,
anymore.
yeah, no
Right.
anymore. I
Right.
realized having just a break and exercising was so important to me.
Mm.
That's
Uh,
Yeah.
so we usually do this thing we call it the origin story part of our
What?
show. The origin story, we kind of explain how you got started, and
Mm.
also there's kind of what I kind of call it a jumping off the cliff moment. Like how you did a bunch of stuff, and I know a little bit about your backstory, but there was like a certain moment where everything just made sense and you just
Yeah.
went forward. So maybe can you talk about that moment, and then we
Okay.
can talk about your book.
Wow, wow. So that moment, I think I had 7 part-time jobs that time. That was a lot because, as you know, I tried a lot. My dream was completely just be a different thing. I wanted to be a puppeteer, the Broadway. That was my dream, so it didn't happen, and I have to still support myself. So one of the part-time jobs was at the Children Museum. So when I was sitting there, a boy came up to me with Dragon Ball Z in English. And he asked me if I was Japanese, and then like, yeah. And then he asked me if I knew Dragon Ball, and I mean, of course, I grew up with it. Every Japanese person. I mean, are you kidding me? So I was like, yeah, like, and he told me that it's a really big thing now, and everybody. I mean, his friends are huge fan of manga, anime, which I didn't know that manga was getting really popular. And he told me to go to public library to see a lot of manga books. So I went there, and I didn't expect to see just a wall just packed with manga in English. And that moment, I thought like, oh my God, maybe this is it. I'm gonna be a manga artist. I don't even know how, but I'm gonna be a manga artist in America as a Japanese person. I'm gonna figure it out. So that's the kind of a moment. Thanks to that boy.
Yeah, wow. I guess you owe him a sketch at least at the very least.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take over the question part, but Mike, you want to jump in? Because I'm sure there's a million.
Well, did you read or draw at all the manga at all before, or?
Yeah. I mean, when I was kid, every Japanese kid, we grow up with reading manga magazines, like a monthly, bi-weekly magazine, stuff like that. And in Japan, we do have just pretty much manga magazines for every generation, like a little kid, preteen, teen, and grown-up, stuff like that. So even my parents, they read manga, and my grandparents, they used to, I think my grandma read some horror manga for a long time. That was her thing. So yeah, it's a manga. I think it's in a blood. So I copied a lot too. I think all my classmates, all the girlfriends, we just copied our favorite characters.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how I grew up, like other kids in Japan.
Right. But did you make your own? Did you ever make your own stories before you decided that you wanted?
No. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe with the friends when I was in middle school. If that counts.
Yeah. Count. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
So that
counts.
count. Yeah,
because it's interesting to say, oh, I want to do that. But as you know, drawing something to make a graphic novel or to make a story is very hard for a lot of people when they start, because they're used to just drawing until they get bored.
Right.
Then they stop. But to draw, how many pages is your graphic novel?
What? How many pages? Oh, my graphic novels?
Yeah.
I think it's like 257.
Okay.
257.
Okay, so your first story that you finished, how many pages was it?
I think it's same 257 or something.
So you started from
more than
drawing 0 pages to 257 pages.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know how. Like, I'm the kind of a person, like when I want to draw some scenes, it's just I see in my just the brain, I feel I'm just tracing it.
Okay.
Oh wow, yeah, like you see it in your head, right?
Yeah, so I think I don't know that I was just lucky that I had some sort of like I don't know, like what are there any names for that?
Well, I mean, like maybe just being a visual thinker. Right?
Maybe maybe that's
you
it.
know what I mean?
That
Because
might be.
sometimes we talk about like how you kind of visualize things, and a lot of people are like, oh well, I have to write it down or I have to type it out first.
Yeah.
But if you see scenes in your head, and then you're just basically transferring that to paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how my brain's working
Right.
when I make.
But you started out writing and drawing your own stories, not drawing somebody else's story?
No, I never drawn for somebody else's story.
Right.
In my
So that's
life.
pretty unique.
Is
I
it
think
really?
probably, yeah, I think, well, especially for Americans, And probably even for, I would imagine, a lot of, from what as I understand, even for the mangaka, because you might start as an assistant and you
Yeah,
might start
that's right.
doing short stories, your own story.
Right.
Because just about everybody I know starts out wanting to do comics, then you do drawings, then you do a little short story, and you do pinups, and then you get your first job, and you're lucky if the job is maybe 8, 10, 12, maybe 20 pages, and you kind of work your way up. You just like jumped out of the airplane. Maybe I have a parachute. Maybe I don't have a parachute. I'm gonna still stick the landing, which is pretty incredible from the standpoint that you had to
Thank you.
You had to convince somebody
Yes.
to pay you
Yeah.
to do that
Yeah.
with no experience.
No experience, but I convinced myself that I was gonna be a manga comic artist in America. I don't know how, but I was the kind of, I mean, I'm not shy to sort of like, show myself or just go out there, try it. Because I don't like, ever since I was a kid, I just didn't like to feel regret. I don't like any regrets. So I try, even though I make a mistake. So, I mean, that's what I wanted to move to America too. But I guess that's why, maybe.
That's
Well, yeah. I mean, because a lot of people, and you know this now yourself if you're teaching, a lot of people are afraid to make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And B, they have a low threshold of pain, so they get bored pretty quick. And the younger you are, the faster you tend to get bored. It's rare that you have. When I've taught classes for little kids, you usually have one kid that's like just draws the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? There'll be like one, maybe two. The rest get kind of bored after about an hour. So it's interesting that you went from not the traditional path right into doing it. So what was your first book, and how did you come up with the idea?
Ooh. Well, my first book, if I remember, that was a long time ago. That was it's called Biker Girl. Oh my God! I mean, I just even feel shy to look it back. Right? It's just looking back.
I have that.
Yeah, Jamar, don't.
I didn't even know you, but I have that on myself somewhere.
Thank you. Well, I remember why I came up with that idea because I was wearing a helmet when I was riding a bicycle, and I kind of got hit by a car. And then I thought like, oh wow, without this helmet, I might be dead by now. And I don't know. I just wanted to make it some kind of a fun girl power, but still so bubbly, kind of some sort of like action, literally like a first love story. So that's I started just writing down, designing characters, and then I started calling so many publishers. I called 800 number. And then just like, hey, I wanna visit our office, kind of like that. That's how I got into, I think, a first. Yeah.
Do you remember how many calls it was before someone said, "Come on over"?
Well, I called at least pretty much most of the major publishers in New York City. All the names, and of course everybody say no, but I just kept going. and then one of them, that was Jana. That's how I met my agent, Jana. Yes. I just called Scholastics, and then that's, oh my God. So I never know. I'm that kind of person. When I want when I want something, I just try. I go out there. Gotta do it. Let's just fail before judge everything.
So how did you figure out? I'm very interested in this process because it sounds like a Hollywood thing. Like, I want to be an actor, and then in the movies you do a couple things, and then you're an actor. But when you want to draw comics.
Yes,
you have to not only be able to draw anything and everything, but you have to understand the format and how to tell a story, because a lot of people are good at drawing style of manga, but they're not good at drawing a story, like the formal quality of like how to lay out a page. And of course, in America, it's reversed from Japan, like,
Mhm.
you know, how to do the pacing, how to
Balancing
decide how to break
balancing lettering.
down.
Yeah.
Huh?
Balancing lettering.
Yeah.
Oh, lettering.
itself.
Well, I didn't know anything about that. I even didn't have an agent that time neither. I didn't know anything how the publisher or artist worked here at all. So pretty much when I was, giving a presentation to a lot of publishers, they were just pretty much surprised by the fact I went there and just knocking at the door because you told me you gave me 5 minutes to talk about my books. That's what I'm here. So they're like, whoa, okay. So that time, I think that years, sort of, it was okay for artists directly contacting a publisher, sort of like
Right.
try out.
It was a little different then. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like a 2000, what is it, 7 or 4, like, what is it, 6 or something like that. That was a long time ago. But so I think that helped. And I think maybe they liked me more. Maybe they liked my energy more than maybe my project. Who knows? But I think we just like, sort of clicked. And then they started kind of helping me. This is how, American publisher works. And yeah, my editors, they just helped me sort of like to, understand just how this industry works. Because I didn't know anything.
Right. Yeah, because I think that's that's where things can either go good or go bad. If you don't understand and you don't have an editor and that has the patience and the interest, if you're selling you. You're going there to the publisher and you're selling yourself.
Yes.
So they go, I like this person. I'm not sure, but I will invest the time. Right, to work with which is not something that happens very often. So I think that's something that I would also tell to the aspiring person is that when you're pitching your work to someone, you're pitching yourself, right? You're pitching you as much as what you're showing because they have to have the faith that you can actually complete the job. Like, am I going to spend 6 months working with this person and then they don't answer their phone or email anymore? They disappear. So what were the steps to your first book that way? How did it work?
How? Well, still it was like thumbnail, which I didn't know what the thumbnails were. So, because they just told me how I should work. Because this is how most of artists, they work, and then maybe you can use as sort of a reference. Like, okay, so thumbnails, but I didn't know how to use computer at that time, so I drew everything with a hand, with a calligraphy brush pen, and I think I got what is it, like the screen tones? Those are manga artists. Oh my gosh, yes, I was using that too.
Wow.
That's old school. You have it all like taped to the bottom of your elbow.
Yes, I was doing it. I really didn't know. I didn't know anything about it. I just had a passion. And I think also it was like a right time, right place, and the right people. In a way, now I feel like even though you do have amazing products or just amazing ideas, if you are not at the right place, right time with the right people, it's not gonna go that much, I realized. So I think that everything sort of like a clicked that moment.
And and Mike talks about this a lot on the show, Misako, about personality, like especially nowadays, like Mike said, like selling yourself as part of this book. Like, you are a giant part of this book even working, so you're getting both of us. When you decide to publish this book, you just don't get the book, you get me too, right? So being able to work with people or be easy to work with or nice or whatever that is, whatever
and
they
open to criticism and feedback, because a lot of young people
Yeah.
They get very defensive when they get criticized, and you're like, well, that's not what I want to do. That's not
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Mm-hmm,
That's so
mm-hmm.
true, isn't it? Yeah.
So
I don't care though.
That
I just like,
confidence,
like
that
whatever.
confidence is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I used to care, of
no,
course. Like just
no,
you
no,
know,
you do.
yeah, in the end of the world. But then I realized, like why am I gonna just get obsessed with the just negative sort of like a reaction? Just I got more things to do. I just want to be positive about myself, so I'm just gonna focus on myself and just all the negative thoughts and everything. Just I push it so to just go away. Like just who cares?
Well,
And that
Misako,
helped.
let's talk a little bit
Oh,
about
okay.
when Biker Girl got published.
Yeah.
So, was there a big jump from you kind of starting at zero, like, I don't really know how this works.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah.
try to figure it out, and you put the puzzle pieces together
Yes,
and
yes.
created something. And then, was there a lot of editorial, like, oh, this is great,
Yes.
but can you talk a little bit about the process there?
Wow, yeah, that was, oh my gosh, Jama, that was so long time ago.
I
Like just,
know, I know.
oh, I think all I remember was tons of editing. Just like, hey,
Mm.
okay, this doesn't work. Okay, all right, this one, and then I was trying a lot too. And I think that time, still 2000, maybe 6 or 7, like everybody knows what the manga anime was, but maybe a lot publishers they didn't know how to maybe deal with so much because they know the manga is getting really trendy. But making a manga, it's just really manga culture itself is pretty different from American comics or graphic novels. So I was sort of introducing, and no, when character gets super happy, just became like a chibi characters, which is like big, face and a small body. So it was a lot sort of like a confusion, just like who's this character now? Like, no, this is a still same person, but she's super duper happy, so she became like this character. So I was
Right.
kind of explaining kind of stuff like that. So it
Mhm.
was really interesting. But Chama, that was so a long time ago, and
Well,
like
it's interesting that we're talking about the time frame because I think we now forget or misremember how new this stuff was. Even 20 years ago.
mhm.
How like because I did some early work with Tokyo Pop, and there was a point where
Oh,
Tokyo Pop was like it in America or Viz or something like that, and then they disappeared. But even
mm,
with that, they were still trying to learn how to market or package or even understand manga. And all the publishers who started to catch on. This is during the Borders era. We're just
oh,
hiring people at some point like, yo, we like what this is, we don't know what it is, can you do it? You know what I mean? So it all kind of lined up in a very weird way. I think we
oh,
forget
yeah.
how new manga was not that long ago.
Well,
right,
actually,
right.
I can go the way back to when I was right out of high school in the
Mm,
early 80s.
mhm,
I briefly dated a girl who
Wow.
was into manga, and they had a club. I've talked about this before. They had a club, and there was somebody in Japan that would send the stuff over, and then what they would do is they would like dub the stuff,
mhm.
right? So it's been around,
Yeah.
but I think when Marvel did Akira, that was the first thing where the American publishers recognized and reprinted something from Japan,
Mhm,
because I think there was sort of like, yeah, there's the Japanese stuff and there's the
Oh,
French stuff, but we do Spider-Man, we do
right.
Batman, we don't do that stuff. But that was the first like crack in the wall, and then I think each generation of people growing up were already into it. So when they came into the business, it wasn't new like it was for the people who were the old school people in the 70s and the 80s.
Mhm, mhm.
So when you're talking about when you're doing the stuff with Borders or whatever, you'd already had
Couple
20
questions.
years
Yeah.
since Akira,
Mhm, mhm,
right?
mhm,
So that's
mhm.
like a whole generation of people who grew up and saw
hmm.
that stuff, and that was like not new to them.
Right.
People in the business, not the readers, but
the
people
business.
in the business recognizing and liking what that stuff was, which was different than when I was a kid, because if you went to a convention and you probably showed manga kind of stuff, they would be like, oh, what's this? It's not Spider-Man, you know.
So, and I guess my next thing kind of goes into the kind of, I'll say, explosion in a nice way of kids all of a sudden were like, this is amazing. I can't get enough of it. And we started to see families who are like, my kid loves this anime stuff. My kid loves this manga stuff. And I remember early on, you would see some kind of like after school classes or some teaching things with someone who's never drawn manga a day in their life is now teaching a manga class. Right. And getting it all wrong because they're just like, I don't know, just draw some big eyes.
Well, that was also the beginning of what they call the weeb culture too. I think. You know, then yeah.
So go ahead.
So you're working with your editor. They're showing you how to do layouts.
Yeah, man, like, she helped so much though. Like, I really appreciate it.
Right. So then you go from your layouts to your pencils. So that's also a big step to draw something that's that many pages and not lose your mojo, you know, not lose your interest. And you're having to draw all kinds of things like backgrounds and bicycles. And I mean, did you just normally sketch or draw that kind of stuff, or did you have
before I got into, like, you know, oh, I'm gonna be a manga artist, like I practiced a lot, obviously, because otherwise, like, I want to polish my style. So I was like at the park always, and giving myself like a 3-minute sketch, some sort of like practice. I was like, whoever I saw, I was like, oh, drawing lady with a dog, you know, like a businessman with a coffee. So I was like getting better and better. But yeah, so that's how I did. But I mean, the biker girl was so long time ago, so I don't like remember the details so much.
That's all right. I didn't mean to mess you up.
You're not trying to trigger you.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, like, yeah, when you say biker girl, just like, oh my god, that was like.
Well, I'll do this. What did you learn from your first project?
Wow.
That made your next projects a little easier or a little better.
What I learned was I was not good enough to do this yet. I thought like, wow, I was a little bit of, what do you call it in English? Over the head? That?
Oh yeah, you're in over your head.
Yeah, over your head. So that one. That one's I was trying to say that, yeah. I knew I could do it. I had a passion so much. And I knew I loved the project. I loved the theme, everything. But my skill was not good enough to carry out. Right. So I learned a lot. What I decided, if I get the second chance, I gotta prepare so much. I gotta practice more. But I don't have money to go to art school, so I just gotta keep trying. That's what I learned. Again, I was extremely lucky. The timing was right.
Were there any artists that you studied? Like, I like this
artist. Oh yeah. So I really like the manga. It's called Rurouni Kenshin. Do you know Rurouni Kenshin? I think in English, Samurai X.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love the style so much. So I copied a lot. So many manga artists just style. Just like when I was a kid, I just copied a lot until sort of like I understood how the like the old, like, you know, like just the pen, the way they. I even looked at the way they press to make a really thick line to just make it really dramatic, stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean, that was a great opportunity. I wish I was good enough. I was just, you know, better to make a more better result. But oh well, I learned a lot. That's why.
And even with the page count, right? Because you say 200 anything to somebody is a lot,
Yes.
right? So you telling a long form story with that many pages at your first time out, because kind of what Mike was saying earlier, like a lot of people start with little tiny stories, a little bite of a story, and you kind of just jumped into the pool, right?
Yes.
Right. So were there parts of that even where you're like, oh man, this is a lot of pages, or did you just know that you had to get to the end of it, and that's just how many pages it is? You know what I mean? How did
I
you process that?
Yeah, actually, I even didn't think that page was that much at all to me.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could have gone more, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
like a manga itself is like a really long story. I grew up with
Yeah.
a just a longer story, like a more
Mhm.
character,
Mhm.
like a lot, just deep into it. So I thought
Yeah.
like just, oh wow, I have to complete the story in a 200, some pages. So
Mm.
I was more having a hard time to sort of like just put all the events
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
what I wanted to draw in
Mhm.
that amount of pages.
That's not funny, but it's so funny because kind of like just the American style of thinking about comic books is you have 24 pages.
What?
Mhm.
Yeah,
24?
it's like a sprint. It's like
Yeah,
a sprint.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
like the Spider-Man comic is no more than 24 pages. uh,
What?
You know,
And do they
and
complete in the end, or just to be continued?
To be continued.
there's a lot of to
To be
be
continued.
continued. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's how the monthly comics here work. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
just introducing manga and just even when we talked about this last week with Raina and Scott McCloud,
yeah.
the rise of the graphic novel, or even just longer formatted storytelling, seemed like such a culture shock to Americans. It's like, wow, this book is thick. Look how
Oh,
big this book
really?
Mhm.
is.
Oh.
Because we were used to this. You know what I'm
Oh.
saying? So what you're saying in your case is like, well, your brain is set to big storytelling
Yes. Yes.
versus
Yes.
versus tiny bites.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in Europe they had the albums, so the
Yeah.
artist work and the artist or artist writer would work all year on one album,
And the
right?
albums
And
are
in
thin. Their
America,
albums are kind of thin too.
yeah,
Yeah.
They're thin. Yeah.
yeah, but they also had a standard of wanting to have a certain level of quality of the art, right? And in America, you start out training usually, like I said, doing shorter stories. And then there were also many magazines that were put out where there were nothing but a collection of short stories. So there was a lot of books that just had 8, 10, 12, 15-page stories. There might be 10 stories in the book or 5 stories, but that's what it was like when I was coming in. There was no 250-page
Right.
graphic novel that didn't exist,
Right.
right? So it's like your training is also partially the culture that you come up in as an artist, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You like you have to develop to fit the environment. So if the
Mm-hmm.
environment is we make 250-page comics, then your first job is like a 250-page comic,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is really different. And I also wonder, as you're working through that 250 pages,
Mm-hmm.
you go back and you go like, wow, I'm drawing the character different on page 99 than I was drawing on page 4. Like you're drawing your character different, your
Oh.
art is slightly is changing as you draw more,
That in a one book.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just one book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
During the process of your.
Oh, that part actually they looked same. That
Mhm.
was I was really happy about it. But every book my style was changing.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, every one new book it's coming out, like I felt like just wow, when I look it back, just even the Bounce Back Volume 1, it's different from now. And especially Biker Girl and Bounce Back is just completely different. Doesn't look like a drawn by same person,
Right.
right?
to be honest. So but yeah, when I was looking on each book from even page 4,
Mhm.
page like 150, they looked same. So I
Mhm.
was pretty happy about it.
That's
awesome.
great. That's a great question.
Did you work on? So would you work like all layouts and then all pencils, or layouts, pencils, inks, layout? Did you break it down?
Yeah.
You know, how did you pace yourself?
Oh, you're still talking about bounce back or others?
Just your process.
Oh, in general, thank God. Now because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I thought like, whoa, the bounce back one, I don't even remember how I did. But now, yes, like the thumbnails, right? And like each chapter is like usually like what 30, sometimes 20, but 38 pages, stuff like that. And then once I finish like everything entire thumbnails from page 1 to the end, I move to pencil and an ink and a color. And I should like now it's funny, like I can draw everything from beginning to the end with computer digital, but I chose hard way for the bounce back. I wanted to use still like my brush pen, beautiful, just a move, like a unique style. So bounce back this book takes a long time. I gotta like manually pencil, manually ink it, and then erase the pencil, and then I edit everything with the computer.
That's great.
Yeah, but my readers, they like my style, so I don't wanna I
Right.
don't
You don't
wanna
want
change it.
to mess with it.
Exactly.
Do
So
you feel that you can get more personality in your style doing it traditionally than digitally?
yeah, I think maybe manually definitely unique. Computer, when I draw with a computer, it looks too clean. So maybe I'm just so used to just a little bit of like I like adding a little noise and a
Yeah.
little bit more texture. So I guess I prefer just even looking at just handmade, art, of course. But I mean, I can't deny how amazing and quick I can just do with, computer, digital.
So all right, I'm checking in on you, Misako. How are you
Okay.
doing? You want to
I
keep
can,
talking?
yes. Yeah, sure.
All right. I just want to check. All right.
Hi.
There's a couple of questions, and these are some of our superstar friends. Kenan James, hello, Kenan from YouTube says, "Do you do model sheets for your characters to keep on model?"
What's the model sheet?
So kind of like some reference
Like an
pages.
animation where you see
Yeah.
all like different expressions, the front, back,
Oh,
side of your character, the way they look.
oh, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
So it all comes right out of your head.
Yes, yes. I mean, when I make a portfolio, I draw, like, oh, Lidiko's looking this and that, like the different expressions, but I don't make model sheets for characters. Is that,
Yeah.
wow, that's how they do?
Some people do.
Some people
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people do, and that's one of the interesting things about cartoonists is everybody
Yeah.
works a little differently.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think especially when you're drawing something so much in
Mhm.
like this long volume, either it becomes kind of muscle memory, like you just know
Yeah.
how to do it, or you need to kind of always look at this little sheet off to the corner to make sure you have it right. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So I think
wow.
that
Okay.
was the question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and if you look at most people who
Yes.
do a long story, it would not be uncommon for them to actually change or perfect the way they draw a character, because if you're drawing a character 50 times, it's different than if you draw them 500 times,
Mhm.
right? So I think that's why a lot of people go through the process of like, I'm going to design my characters so I have a reference for myself, especially if the character is complex. How did I draw that belt? Oh, yeah. How did I draw
Mm.
the shoes? Things like that. So a lot of people, that's where I think comics and animation sort of started to cross over, right? Because in animation, you always make a model sheet because you've got 50 people drawing the same character, so they got to look exactly the same, right? So some people even figure out how to construct their style, how to construct, 50 people have to draw Popeye. We have to see that Popeye looks exactly the same. So some cartoonists do that and some don't. And some, maybe you don't do that. And if whatever is different, that's just part of your style.
That's cool, Mike. There's another question. This is cool. Our good buddy Juan Albaran. You like Juan? He's great. Juan is currently in Japan doing a manga series, and says, "Has Misako thought about publishing manga in Japan?"
Funny thing is, I published the books in Japan, like couple, three or four, but it's more for like the over 25 years old woman in Japan. More like about lifestyle, encouraging, like you go out there, girls, you do you, that kind of.
you go girl comics.
Yeah, like it's fine, that kind of stuff. Because when I went back to Japan, not so much anymore, because my my work in America, it's getting more busy, and my main business is in America. But before COVID time, I went back to Japan at least 4 times a year, because I sometimes showed up on a TV, on a radio show there. So I talk about like experience, my life in America, stuff like that. So thanks to that kind of experience, my agency in Japan, they decided, hey, let's make a book, about like how to live like amazing, fashionable life in New York.
I need to read that now. I hope you have a copy. You have to send me a copy of that. Thanks, Juan. And it's interesting now that just to think about how much America is in love with Japanese culture. Like that's just it is what it is. And I wonder, because the 1 or 2 times I've been to Tokyo, there weren't, and there's manga shops everywhere, but there was usually like a little shelf with like American comics on it, and usually it had Obama on it or Michael Jordan or something like that,
Really?
like Spider-Man and Obama, that kind of thing. But there wasn't a lot of it, so I'm wondering how much maybe they are interested in what's going on over here. And as far as cartooning is concerned, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not that you can answer that, but it's just it's an interesting conversation.
Interesting. So the bookstores, because my hometown is really outside of Tokyo, and we do have like a huge malls, and that's kind of spot a lot families and kids, we go there. But if you don't go to Tokyo, you don't have a chance to even see American comic, to be honest. If you're in Tokyo, you see it, but we look at it as like, oh, this is American, like a Western comic.
Right.
I think that even my friends kids, when they hear that word, like a Marvel, a Spider-Man, that kind of stuff, they think it's just a movie. They didn't know that it's based on comic book.
Right.
So not that many people. Yeah, in Japan, like manga, it's pretty much everything. So we don't even know the other existence. They don't even know what the graphic novel is. So when they look at my art, they don't think it's manga. They don't think it's a pure manga so much. They think, oh yeah, she's Japanese, but she's kind of making it more a little bit Americanized. That's what they think.
She's kind of like making it for the American
it's more like because like my style, I use brush pen too, so my lines are a little thicker, and it's a little different. The way also like a panel works too. It's first of all, it's really different too. So when they look at it, it's like this is not pure manga, like that.
I think it's very interesting if you think about it that the American comics, Disney animation influenced the Japanese, especially the early mangaka. Then that comes to the States, goes out. It's influencing people here, people like you, and then it bounces back.
Bounce back.
And like you get this cross-cultural because the Japanese are very influenced by our culture, rock and roll and all that stuff, but you see it through the cultural lens. It comes over to this cultural lens and gets reflected back to that other cultural lens. So I think that you're going to see people like you now go back and influence people in Japan, right? And then 10 years from now, maybe it'll bounce back because you'll have. How old are the average reader of your books?
My books, my bounce books is like from 9 to 12 years old.
Okay.
Yes.
So in 10 years, those people will be professionals drawing comics.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And can you? Well, I know your Bounce Back series. It's a series, right? How many?
Yes.
How many
I
books are
have
in your series?
the so far 3.
Mm.
Well, you can see.
Wow.
Sorry, it's the lights. The
Hold
lights are
on, let me give
crazy.
you the screen.
Here we
Hold on.
go. Ta-da!
There you go.
This is
Awesome.
1. This is 2, and last week this one. Sorry, it's a little bright over there.
Yeah.
So Totally Nala just came out. Ah, so
Okay.
kawaii.
Congratulations! Wow, it
Yeah,
just came
thank
out.
you.
Wow. Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
just came out.
That's great. And you know, as we said earlier, that you said that you're on tour right now. So but and I want to talk about that real quick, but I'm also watching the clock. I would hate to not talk about your teaching
Oh
before
yes. Oh
we're done.
wow, we even didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I told you time's just gonna fly by.
Yeah.
So can you talk about the teaching part of your professional studio?
Yeah, wow. So I started teaching manga in person, New York City.
Hmm.
That was like a long time ago, like 8 years ago, something
Hmm.
like that. And because, well, I didn't know, I mean, that time I thought I was going to be famous, author. So I don't need to worry about my life, I thought. But turned out life is tough. You have to, you have to
Hmm.
just work hard. And then the time I realized, this manga is getting popular. Maybe I should start teaching. And then I made a flyers. And then like it just happened. Just one mom, just with a daughter, contacted me because they wanted to just take my lesson, just for the test it out. And that was in Manhattan, and I taught her and her friends, and luckily those moms really loved my lesson. The kids really reacted so well, so she introduced me to daughter's schools in New York City. So that's what I got into, more like a teaching in at the schools. I was teaching like every week, not whole day, but like a 2 hours I was teaching a manga.
Right.
But the COVID happened. Even I had like over 30 private students, and I was even having a gallery shows for my students in Soho, that kind of stuff back in time. That was so fun, and it was great. And then COVID happened, and then we couldn't do any more in person. So I thought like, but what I'm gonna do, because my lesson was like getting really popular. I was getting a good reaction. Then I thought like, I'm just gonna maybe build online school. But since my target is minor kids, even like parents involved, it was really difficult to find a good platform to teach kids. So it took a long time for me to build a website and find a good platform and everything, stuff like that. And then I even like asked a lawyer to read some stuff to make sure I'm not gonna, step out of any sort of a problem. So, but that's how I started doing an online business. Now I just teach not just the East Coast kids, more like Central and LA. Sometimes like Australian kids, stuff like that. It's amazing to see so many kids in the world love manga.
That's fantastic.
Like those, bubbly, cute mangas.
And one, the last time I think we were together, we were at a private school, like a career day event together.
Yes.
And I'll make myself look bad. It was crazy. So everybody had like a slot. Like MISAKO Rocks will be in room 6. Jamar Nicholas will be in room 4.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was sitting there like this, and everybody was in Misako's room. Like they're like falling out the door. There were so many people in there. I went over there like, yo, can I sit over here? So I mean, it's you know, it shows kind of like Misako's energy, and also just how excited kids are about manga. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I think that's probably the biggest thing. And I'm really excited, like I said at the beginning of this, that there is actually someone who does manga who's teaching manga. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of there's a while ago when I was teaching at this one school. There it wound up on the curriculum. There was a manga class. Mike, I don't know if you remember this, and there was nobody to teach it, but there was somebody there who was just like trying to figure it out. They were making masks and stuff. They're like, what? They're making kabuki masks and stuff. I'm like, no, that's not
That's more traditional.
Manga, yeah. Come on. Everybody loves that. You
Yeah.
know that's legit.
So just for just for respect of the culture, it's great that people can get lessons from someone who actually knows what they're doing.
And kids know.
Right.
Kids know when shit is fake. They know right away if this person is like, here, you would draw Bart Simpson and give him manga hair. They know that's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So can you maybe, Misako, tell us a little bit more about what you get from teaching, if I can ask you that?
Yeah, sure.
What do you get out of it?
Actually, I mean, thanks to teaching, I made Bounce Back series. Without the experience, no way I came up with the idea. Because when I started teaching, I realized that, like, a funny thing is, my students, maybe a lot of them were not taking just my drawing lesson. It's more like about Misako time together. Yeah, whoa! It's like, yeah, looking myself is always like, but
You'll be all right, don't worry about it.
yeah. So funny thing is, because my students' parents, they really happy to see the kids are really reacting to all this exciting classes, and they got really interested in Japanese culture too. Because of like my lessons, some of them visited Japan, or even like tried exchange student program in Japan too. So thanks to like then I got all the like trend, their like relationship with the friends and families, all the like a good story I'm getting too. And that helped me to create just such a good realistic this pre-teenagers slice of a life story.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
But like, man, like Mike, like you said, that a lot kids, they have a short focus span, right? So I try to make my lessons super duper interactive as much as possible. And also I'm teaching through online too.
Right.
So I have to like make sure that like I ask them questions all the time, so they can just react to my questions and answer. And I have a tons of like samples for the lesson too, so they can choose what kind of a eyes or a smile they want to draw. So it sort of took a while for me to make this lesson style.
Right. So now when you're doing it, are you doing it because it's like two brains? You're talking to people and you're trying to react to them, but then you're trying to do a lesson. You have to like split your brain.
I know. And then I do have a Japanese students too, and they want me to talk to them in Japanese. So I have to I gotta switch sometimes, like talking Japanese to them.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. And then everybody like to be spotlighted. They wanna show their artwork. So in the end, I usually spend at least 20 minutes to spotlight everybody to get the, like their reaction, like what they drew, what they like about, tell us a story behind these characters, stuff like that. So they really like it.
Did you figure out, I was going to say, how long are your lessons? How long did you?
I try to keep it like a 45 minutes, but usually go over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Yeah.
some of them like a 7 years old, so I don't want to stretch the lesson so much, but it
Yeah.
gets pretty intense and it's super exciting. And then next
Mm.
week is gonna be Halloween party. We're gonna do, so we're gonna dress up. We're gonna wear costume and have some like a party. So always like I think of like a theme, like at least like a 2 weeks ahead of like a theme. It's like, oh, I gotta come up with a theme. I gotta come up with a theme, stuff like that.
This is like, you know what? This is funny. I just thought this is kind of like watching a Man Bin episode, like watching him do like draw this in front of us. You spend so much time just talking about how the eye works,
Yeah.
and that is so important. You've been drawing the rest of the face. You've been talking about this eye for like
Yes.
5 minutes, and this is kind of like part of what's so cool about having somebody who's legitimate teach a class like this. Because we've all seen people who get it wrong, or people
Mhm.
kind of like just misrepresent what manga is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I hope I'm not embarrassing you by putting this sort of
No, no,
thing,
no,
but
no,
I think
no.
it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Also, you know what? Because like some of my students, they're really young.
Mm,
So if I go a little slightly fast,
yeah.
they just cannot catch up. And if
Mhm.
they are my new students, they usually ended up crying.
Oh.
Oh no.
So yeah, 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 yeah. Usually, like when you're a beginner, my class, they think it's just super fast, and they were like in the class with the older students too, because they could
Mhm.
see it, right?
Right.
So they
Right.
get
Right.
overwhelmed. So I try to go a little slower. So
Yeah.
older students, they exactly know what they're doing. So while I'm
Mhm.
talking, they usually like go second eyes right away. But
Mhm.
they like to draw hair together because manga hair is so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I ask them, hey, what color hair color we should just give it to her. And I
Mhm.
try to just,
Mhm.
get, request as many as possible. Mhm.
There was I could talk in a second, but we had talked. This is a long time ago. We had
Yeah.
I forget who was on the show, but we were trying to explain uh, how cute or kawaii
Yeah.
style is, not even just in this sort of the sense of like Japanese comics, but how like cute is its own thing. And some
Yes.
people, I would turn this off. Now I'm distracted. Hold on a second.
Yeah. I know. I was kind of looking
Wait a
I was
minute, I
taking
didn't
notes.
finish mouth, Jamar.
at the
I was
mouth.
just, I'm like looking at the mouth, like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
About how some people think cute and can draw cute, but there's also some maybe like not shortcuts to drawing cute, like make the eyes big and
Mhm.
expressive and make the nose small. So can you kind of explain how to think cute, or like how do you teach cute? You know what I mean?
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're cute as, let's say, as a character or anything, right?
Yeah,
Well,
like what how do you make something cute?
oh man, yeah, like usually if even we make font cute, like a font
Mhm.
cute,
Right.
we like the start is always better to give like a bubbly eyes. So
Mhm.
like a draw eyes, just even normal sides too, but how many bubbles you want to add inside? Twinkle
Mhm.
twinkles, bubbles are like really important for the manga eyes. The more
Mhm.
bubbles just show up, the happier cell phone is. So you
Mhm.
just get a tons of like bubbles, and also like a tiny cute little nose like a cat, and then mouth. Like when you sort of like just get those three things together, and then a little bit of like, if you draw like face features a little higher up like this
Mhm.
phone becomes super duper cute for sure.
Mhm. Oh, great! Thank you.
Yeah.
That was great.
I
There's a
think
couple.
like, yeah.
Go,
Oh,
go ahead.
also, Jemima,
Yeah.
Hello
Yeah.
Hello Kitty is the symbol of kind of a cute,
Yeah.
and then Hello
Mm.
Kitty is one of original the first the cute the plush
Mhm.
toy, and
Mhm.
then if you look at it, she has this triangle, nice sort of like the shape
Ah.
and the eyes a little bit apart, but
Mhm.
the mouth and the nose are like so close to that triangle in
Yeah.
Mhm.
there in the mouth.
Mhm.
That's what I heard. Once you sort of like the capture this triangle in a face, That's like we react as a like, ah, so cute, kawaii, you know, like this.
Yeah, there's a trigger that happens when
Yeah,
you
definitely.
you have to follow the template. That's
Yeah.
like I just thought it was Hamtaro, the Hamtaro.
Hamidalo, yes. Oh my god, that's really cute one.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's
cute.
it's all based upon the proportions of a baby.
Yeah,
Right?
yes.
That baby, that cute with a high
right
forehead.
there. Yes.
Yeah, you know.
High
Yeah.
forehead
Definitely.
baby, yeah.
And it's funny, like, so in Japan, this kawaii cute things are like, part of a lifestyle culture. So
Yeah.
even each police station, like no police station, but each police in each city, they do have their own cute mascot characters.
Wow.
So my hometown is like pigeon. Pigeon is the like a symbol animal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the police mascot in my hometown is a pigeon police
Oh, I
officer.
love it. I love it.
And
What
it's like
happens when you
super cute.
What happens when you get super deformed pigeon?
I need to see.
So far I haven't seen it though.
I need a T-shirt with the super cute pigeon
You
on it.
need that's your new. You got to do a super deformed Leon.
Yeah, I know. Pigeon eyes. I love it. So, all right, Misako, we're going to start wrapping you up.
Okay.
You were nice enough to stay on a little longer, but
Thank
there's a couple of other questions in here that you can maybe
Yes.
answer. I'll hand it over to Steve, and we'll do. You ready? We haven't done this in a while. You ready for this, Misako?
Okay.
Lightning round. So question palooza. So Steve is going to ask you a couple questions and
Okay.
just give some brief answers, and then we'll go home.
Whoa, all right. Okay, got it.
All right.
EJB on YouTube. Did you design your own puppets when you were puppeteering?
Yes, I did. I did for the Halloween parade.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was like based on it with a kabuki style. That was fun.
Oh, kabuki. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And did you kind of have did you have that all kind of set up in your head before you just started fabricating puppets? Like you're like, I want it to look like this, and you applied it, kind of
Yes.
just like your
Yeah.
manga. Wow, I love it. That's really
Definitely.
cool. All right, cool. Thank you.
Joseph Cahoon Draus on YouTube asks, is Misako in contact with any other Japanese artists in the USA or other countries?
To be honest, I don't know.
Mm,
I know one manga artist in Japan.
mm.
Yes, he did a horror movie, Ringu. Do you know Ringu?
Oh wow, yeah, the ring.
Yeah, he
The
made
ring. Yeah,
he
the
made
ring,
a manga book. He showed me that. That was scary, but amazing art, amazing art.
Oh wow. So how do you feel about horror manga? Do you
Me?
enjoy
No,
them?
not for me. Not for me.
Mhm.
I can't even read it.
Is
I
that becoming
appreciate.
it's getting popular here? Like horror
Hey,
manga is
really?
really starting to heat up.
Oh
Yeah.
no! I mean, it's a good thing, but no for me.
Okay.
Because my mom loves horror manga. She
Mhm.
was reading, and I wanted to read. And like, what is that? And then she showed me. I'm like, it's just Japanese horror, or I think
Yeah.
maybe it's Asian horror storytelling.
Mhm, mhm,
It's true. It's like revenge and
mm.
betray, and it's not like blood so much. It's just
Right.
haunting you.
Mm.
I couldn't sleep when I watched even Ringo.
Wow.
I couldn't sleep, but yeah. So like, really, it's getting popular.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good for them, but wow, just oh god.
I didn't mean to distract you. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, and we got last one here is from Tom Zoller over on YouTube. How do you teach manga versus teaching drawing? Like, is manga a style like country/rock music, or is it a different
Oh,
discipline like guitar versus piano?
What a
yeah.
great
Whoa,
question.
that's a great question. I think it's a different style.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
different style. Because I don't even know how to like. I can copy, right, like other style, but I feel much more comfortable drawing this bubbly, kawaii manga style drawings.
Mhm, mhm.
And yeah, my kids, those middle grade, they like that because they even parents read manga too now. two
Right.
generations,
Mhm.
right? Parents, kids, they read manga, and they're
Mhm.
always looking for kid-friendly manga now. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I guess Bounce Back is kind of a perfect for that.
I thank you for those questions, you guys. I have
Yeah.
like a couple more questions for you,
Oh
just
yes.
about how did you kind of land on your audience? How did you kind of form your storytelling to kids? Because
Oh,
we all, I don't think we all started here. I think we all kind of found our way here
right, right.
to do kids' work. So, like, do you kind of have an
Mhm.
idea how you got to this
Yeah,
audience?
yeah. Because I thought, like, when I thought manga was getting popular, I thought it's just more for teenagers, right?
Mm,
So it's more
mm,
like deep conflict and like more deeper story.
yeah.
But I realized that because of my students, because my students are like much younger, and their parents told me they're always looking for manga for their age group, but they never
Mm,
found anything. And that's the moment I realized, oh my gosh, I can be pioneer. I'm gonna get the spot. I'm
mm,
gonna be the sort of like one of the first one who can create the manga for that specific age group, the middle grade. That's
mm.
why, yeah, I think that's how I started it.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not a bad choice, right?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
It's, you do hear that, like, just being on the road and talking to librarians and teachers, they'll say things like, "Can you make more of this? We need
Mm,
more of this." They tell you that, like,
Hmm.
"We need more of this. We need more boy graphic novels. We need more things for the 9 to 10-year-old girls."
yes.
You know, so I guess you're supposed to run home and just start drawing it, but they're kind of telling you what they need. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And if the market isn't giving it to them, I mean, that's a perfect reason for us to be here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I like that, drawing again slice of a life story. I really love it. So I really enjoy it so much making
Mm,
this story.
well, that's great. And I guess we can kind of end on this again. I know you're super busy and you're running around on tour. How long is your tour for this
Whew.
for your new book?
Okay, so I started pretty much tour in a way from Japan
Hmm.
from September. Well, September? Is it last month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last month, yeah. I
Okay.
started from Japan and then New York until until Thanksgiving, pretty much that week.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're exhausted, right? You have to be
Yes.
tired.
It's exciting to go to the new place, but yeah. Whew,
Do
I
you do
didn't.
all that yourself? Do you book yourself? Do
I
you
do. I do book myself.
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm,
Because I mean, again, that's another thing that you're just that people probably don't realize is that publishers do some things, but you have to do a lot of this yourself.
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely book festival authors. I mean, I
mhm,
do it, but I do have a booking agent,
mhm,
just book for specific school visits, stuff like that. So I kind of combine two things together.
mhm, mhm,
And if
mhm.
people want to find you on the tour, how do they find you?
Oh, they usually find me through my website, misakorocks.com, and also Instagram and YouTube.
That's
Those are
great.
three things. Yeah, that's how they. Oh, thank you, Jamar. Yeah.
And how
Um,
often do you do your teaching on your YouTube?
Oh man, YouTube, I have to be super duper more active. I haven't been to, so
mhm,
hopefully
mhm,
after book tour, I want to focus on a YouTube more, uploading a video. I do
mhm,
have some ideas, but no time yet. Hopefully
mhm.
after holidays.
Do you do that yourself too, or do you have somebody to help you do the videos and all that
Oh,
stuff?
I do it by myself.
Yeah.
I edit everything. I know it's
It's so
getting tough.
much. It's so
I
much.
know. I learned how to edit everything. Just touch around, just play. As long as I'm curious.
Right.
If I'm curious, I can do it.
Here's my last question for you, and I know
Hey,
this might be
okay.
hard for a lot of cartoonists. Do you? This could be. You might answer in both ways. Do you? If you could get assistance, would you take the help?
Yes, I do have an assistant.
Okay.
Actually, I do have assistant. Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I can't finish anything on time.
Well, the reason I asked that is also just from the stuff that we do, and you're so involved in it, and it's so much of how you think and how you move. It's sometimes it's hard to let go.
Yeah.
You know, to go, oh, you know what? I really want to do this, but okay, here you take it, and then you're
Yeah.
worried the whole time that they're messing it up. You know what I mean? So, like, I wonder, can you kind of separate that part?
Oh.
You see what I mean? Can you separate that part of yourself to allow someone to help you?
Oh yeah, sure. Because also like my assistant is more like a fundamental coloring stuff. So I just ask her to do because I do have a number for hair, skin, and
Right.
hair stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
ask her, hey, this number 3 and this that. So she does only fundamental stuff, and then I do everything else.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So still, I mean, I do a lot of things, but
You do all of the things, right?
yeah, but like, oh my gosh, even doing the basic stuff, if
Mhm.
somebody can do it, that's amazing. That's like so much burdens, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
like taken away. Because otherwise, oh, it's tough.
Right. You know, but
Yeah.
also you, as people say all the time, you're living the dream. It's like you're
Yes.
living the dream, but there's only so much hours in the
Yeah.
day. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to let you go. You've been
Okay.
fantastic. Is there anything else you want to say to us before you go, or you want to talk about anything else before you get out of
Um,
here?
I guess I'm gonna say, well, thank you so much for listening. And if anybody wanna just see my artworks, they can always find my website, misakorocks.com, and my social media, Instagram, Misako Rocks, and YouTube, Misako Rocks.
Awesome.
And if you sign up for my newsletter, you get free coloring book. Super cute one. So please.
Awesome. Oh, and I think I lost it. But on
What?
on the image that we shared, is there a QR code that?
Oh yes. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Oh,
I'll
thank you,
put that
Jamal.
back. I'll put that back on the screen.
Yes,
So,
please. Yeah, so totally Nala.
okay, so yeah, you scan that, get a QR code to get the manga. How cool is that?
Yeah,
Awesome,
please, please.
awesome. Thank you. All right, Misako, I'd love to have you back on in the future. Thank
Yes.
you so much. You're a
Yes.
great guest. I told you that the time was going to go by really
Yeah,
fast.
you're so right.
So,
Yeah,
I,
thank you, thank you.
oh, no problem. All right, well, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your time with us and your talents. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, let's see you next time. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you
Bye. Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Woo.
Cool. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Billy Bob says, "Thank you, Misako." How cool! And she's been a buddy for a really long time, and like her energy is infectious. And like I said, I think there's something really special to note about people who actually know what they're talking about. I remember that class. I remember very specifically that manga class in that year that I was teaching at this school. And it was lousy with kids, Steve Conley. And it was almost like they needed to create ways to put these kids in rooms because there's so many kids and they love manga. And their teachers on our staff were like, I don't even know what that is. What do you mean you want me to teach this next quarter? And that's where like I think they were making scrolls and shit in one of the classes. They just like I don't know. So I think at one point I brought one of my boys in. I was like, you know how this stuff works. Can you please go save these children? So that's another reason I think Misako is great to teach, because the kids have a really big interest in it, and I think we do them a disservice when we kind of sort of tell them what manga is. Like, I don't know, they're like big eyes and like flames in their teeth, I guess. in the sweat drop. That's manga, right?
Draw the hashtag on their forehead when they get stressed.
Right. And so I don't know, Steve, what did you think of having Misako on this show?
Fantastic guest, absolutely worthy of the exclamation point. I think that's our second with Scott Shaw. That's our second exclamation point this year.
Second exclamation point, yeah.
That'll become a trend. All new cartoons must have an exclamation point.
I do think that's as I've been meaning next time there's a shop talk with us. I was going to be like, okay, you're a brand new web cartoonist or mangaka. What is your name? The idea of aliases is a fairly recent happenstance in cartooning. But a fantastic guest. I loved your question about how to make cute. I think that was a fantastic question. And it made me wonder, do you make model sheets, Jamar?
No, I should. No, I know I don't, but it's kind of like to kind of what we're saying and just kind of doing the characters long enough that you can kind of just like look at it and I'm like, oh no, the nose is too low. Or like, oh no, the face is too wide. You know what I mean? But it takes a lot of those drawings for you to see it. Like I go back and look at some really old Leon things, and I'm like, this doesn't look like the same character now. You know what I'm saying? So, and I also know there are cartoonists out there who kind of like lived and died by their model sheet because, and maybe this is kind of, and Mike, maybe you could talk to this. This may be a tell of that kind of like dead weight, deadline style that started to get really popular with like the Adventure Time and all those other kind of things that you wanted things that look really kind of flat and uniform, almost like an animation style in comics. And I've seen a lot of young graduates of art schools these days who, you know, line their comic pages, and they're very liberal and very literal with their lines, almost make it all look like it came off the computer, even though they're doing it by hand.
I think that's sort of the modern aesthetic that is the result of people using digital media, because it basically makes no matter how you hold a pen,
right,
the only difference is thick or thin, right? Like if I take a Hunt 108 or I take a globe point and I ink with it, it's going to look different if I'm using traditional media. If I use a brush, it's going to look different just because of the way I hold it with my hand. And because I have the muscle memory of what I want to do. I employ muscle memory, as I always say, on the tablet to try to make it look like my line. It does not give me my line naturally. I have to make my line, which again is based upon muscle memory. But sometimes I'll do stuff and I don't like the fact that it's too clean or that it's it's too even. I don't like that. It doesn't have enough character, right? Most people wouldn't notice it, but I notice it, and I know there's a feeling that I get from paper that I never get from digital. I have to make it try to look like my traditional stuff. And I think if you start out that way, your line will always have less personality, because digital has less personality. It has speed, it has perfection, it has all kinds of other things going for it, but I don't think that it has personality for most people, you know, because it's not made to have personality. It's made to make this thing within this set of parameters. And if you want something that's not within that set of parameters, you have to figure out a way to do it.
It made me think of, and I'm not knocking anybody because we don't do that here. This isn't a submarine thing, but I was thinking about kind of like licensed comics and how it's more important that it looks like the cartoon that you're referencing. Right. Like I just thought of Rick and Morty comics, where there's no, or even like Simpsons comics, like it's supposed to look like the cartoon. So that's
My Little Pony and Angry Birds. I think those are Tom Zoller projects, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I worked on Superman Adventures, right? Of course, I had the model sheets from when I worked on the show. But I did my interpretation of Bruce's style, right? And I understand Bruce's style, and I understand the roots of Bruce's style, but I knew how to flex it to put some of my style in it, right? But if I was an animator on the show, I would not be doing that. I would be trying to make it look like, everybody's trying to make it look like that style,
Right.
So you have some people that would work at a place like Disney in licensing, and that was their job, is to make every fucking Winnie the Pooh look like Winnie the Pooh. Right? No, like the dent's too far back on the head or too forward on the head.
Your Pooh did. I forgot about the Pooh did.
Right. Like, it's like there are people who do this sort of advertising next week's show, but there are people who do peanut stuff. For a long time, Schultz did everything. But now there are people who are trained to do peanuts. And if you get Linus's lump on his head wrong, it doesn't look right. If you get the oval on Charlie Brown's head just wrong, it looks like another. It doesn't look right. I mean, it depends upon, for licensing, they want it to look like SpongeBob. Like if you're drawing a SpongeBob comic, and let's say you probably had, I don't know, you had Bob Camp draw one and you had Bill Ray draw one. It would be SpongeBob, but each guy kind of goes a little bit in their own direction. I mean, it was the same way when I worked on Powerpuff Girls or any of those animated things. There's some Mike Manley in there, right? There's model sheet, but it was funny when I worked on the show. You would get a model pack, and they have all these drawings to explain how to draw this hand or how to draw this character in this position or not draw it in that position. And then sometimes you would see a drawing by Bruce that would break that rule, but the rule was if Bruce drew it, because it's his style, it's on model. Right? So, I would not necessarily do, like, I don't have model sheets for the Phantom and I don't have model sheets for Judge Parker. But I do have, especially for Judge Parker, even though I never had model sheets, I have the proportions of all those characters in my head. So I know, like, if I'm doing this drawing, the Judge's nose is too long, or Sam's nose is too long, or, Abby's hair is not right. It's just like you have that feeling like there's something off. And I think that there's some cartoonists who, like Freddie Moore, who used to be one of the great Disney animators, he's the guy who drew naturally cute and appealing. Just the way he drew the shapes. Just natural. And he then influenced Disney's cute because he naturally had a cute style, right? Some people just naturally have a way of drawing something that's appealing. They just draw the right angle. They draw the right amount of cuteness, and other people can imitate it, but they don't have that extra spark. So I think that model sheets help for you to understand maybe your own character. Right? If consistency is important to your style. And there's a lot of cartoonists. I was thinking like, Virgil Parch and a lot of those weird old cartoonists, or like Don Martin. I'm sure Don Martin didn't have a model sheet.
The feet are like a submarine sandwich long.
Right. Yeah. And they just had this really weird idiosyncratic way of drawing something. Like Chester Gould. I mean, there's a lot of the old original, I think of like the original cartoonists who had a style, like even Blondie. I mean, there's a lot of this style. It was just that quirky way that they drew, right? That anybody else who came afterward working on a legacy strip had to figure out, like, oh, I'm drawing Blondie, or I'm drawing Beetle Bailey, or I'm drawing, whatever. I have to draw it like that. I mean, even on Rip Kirby, when Alex Raymond died in that car crash, John Prentice was able to come in and really draw it in Alex Raymond's style, which was amazing to be able to do it that well, because that, that level of draftsmanship and stylization is really hard, right? Really complex.
Steve, I'm sorry, I'm distracting myself. Did you get a chance to talk about tonight's episode? Did I ask you what you?
Yeah, it was an excellent guest, fantastic. I love the confidence. I love the reaching out to people who, just the cold calling publishers to come in with your ideas. That's happened repeatedly during the episodes this year. Our interviews are talking with people about just the confidence to either produce the work, and like you talked about, and Mike has talked about, the personality, the character of the person, being a spokesperson for your work. And, looking at Scott and Raina last week, and, you guys as excellent spokespeople for the work that you do. It's, I know people want to kind of hide in their studios and do their work, but getting out there and putting your work in front of people, it's part of your job. So
especially in the beginning, I mean, you have to risk that, because again, that I would always explain that to the students, is that, you are selling yourself, right? Yeah. People would say, "Oh, I want my show on Cartoon Network. I want to have my own Adventure Time." Well, all the people that have those shows were people that worked at Cartoon Network, so they got to know them. Number one, got to know that they're not weird or flaky or they're weird in a good way.
Yeah, right.
Right? They're weird in a way that makes the company money. So then when you pitch a show, they go, okay, Jamar's coming in, Steve's coming in, Mike's coming in. We know that person. We've worked with that person. We're interested in hearing their pitch. Yeah. I mean, there's just no way to avoid putting yourself out there. You can't avoid that. And it sounds like like I'm always saying, she had the right kind of personality to decide that that's what you wanted to do, and then B, be willing to take whatever it is that she had to take and change in order to make that opportunity. Because I always say, a lot of people say there's luck, but I think luck is preparation meeting opportunity. So she made opportunity, and then she was prepared to do whatever she had to do in order to make that opportunity pay off. If you had the wrong kind of personality, you would go, this person's going to invest in me. And when they start telling me, well, you need to do this, you start saying, well, that's not how I do it.
And the dissatisfaction she expressed about her first book, about, the next one's got to be better. I think that's a big deal. That's
the next one. Just that. The next one has to be better, not like, oh, shucks, time to kick the soup can down the street. No, the next one, right? And I think that's something that we all share, that I think a lot of people just don't get. I don't know if it's gumption, I don't know, grit, I don't know what you call that, but it's just like there's a part where
moxie.
I like your moxie, kid. But it's a real thing, and everybody who loves to watch these shows and talk about how great their favorite cartoonist was like 900 years ago, but haven't jumped out the airplane themselves, it's that part. It's like, can you just go ahead and do it?
Yeah.
When nobody's looking for it, right? I'm about to get a soapbox.
That's a pretty steep. Like I was saying, I think that's a pretty steep jump, because most people start out doing pinups and little short things and a lot of failed stories, and then you get an opportunity, and then you do a short story, or you get an issue to do a fill-in. But to jump right into a graphic novel, I mean, how do you pace a story? she must naturally have that storytelling sense of how to, pretty good, so that the editor can kind of go, right?
And that growing up with manga, that not beholden the way American comics had been to sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes, those heavy genres which dominate, maybe a touch of horror, maybe things like that in comics. And but the idea of being able to just tell a general interest story, a romance story of any kind, that was way ahead of the curve for the young adult comics, for young readers.
Right.
Yeah, I think it would actually be harder for an American, the average American, to go do an anime, because that's kind of stuff you grow up reading. If you're reading, a Superman or a Batman, or even like the old days, some kind of funny animal thing. It's not at all like how they pace stuff,
Right.
and there's a lot of, like when we were talking last week to Raina and Scott, traditional American comics is condensing of stories into these really bombastic, tight 24-page or so stories. And in graphic novels, it's expansion. Like they were saying, you would see a character change, think. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to boil that all down to like Joey Jonah Jameson's banging on his desk, and you got Peter Parker, and you're condensing that down because you don't have 6 pages to have them having a conversation in the Daily Bugle office, right?
Not that quiet moment of J. Jonah Jameson wistfully staring out the window for a moment.
Right. I mean, you might get a panel like that. In fact, I saw something yesterday. Was it yesterday or day before on Facebook? It was it's a Gil Kane group that I belong to. And it was Gil Kane's original page layouts for when the Green Goblin gets killed by the glider.
Spoilers.
Right.
I was just about to get to that part.
Right. And then Kane laid it out to where he gets stabbed, and then he falls off on the ground, and there's these panels where Spider-Man, and you're looking down. So it's like a bird's eye view. And I'm willing to bet that Stan said, I don't like that. It's too. So you have him get stabbed and then him hang in the same thing, right? That's a very different aesthetic. So you might get a silent panel at the end. Kirby would do that every once in a while. There'd be a silent panel with the Thing or something at the end of the story. The poetry is in the action. There's not, you didn't get quiet in a Marvel comic. And if they did, it was like a loud quiet, very obvious. But the kind of storytelling you get in Japanese culture, you see that reflected in the Miyazaki films. There's a lot of just something, you're experiencing something, a blade of grass, a wind, a train going along. So many long shots you would see of a train going. That's not what American superhero comics are about. That would be anti what American superhero comics are. So again, if your personality is naturally drawn to that kind of stuff.
Right. Spider-Man no more.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not even saying one is necessarily better than the other. They're just very different.
They're different.
Yeah. It's what's right for that story.
Yeah. And I think it's your personality that attracts you to that. Right. I was very attracted to that kind of bombastic stuff. Later on, as a teenager, when you start seeing the French stuff come in, then you see like, well, here's another way, right? another way. And then later on, you know, when you start reading about, you start reading the comics from around the world. So now I think like, well, it just depends upon the kind of story that I want. I could do an all silent story. I could do a real action story. Again, it's just like, what kind of story do you want to tell, right?
Sure.
That's where I think today we have opportunities to tell different kinds of stories that was not as easily done.
Oh, heck no.
Before the internet, especially.
For sure.
You guys keep talking. I'm trying to do something.
What are you trying to pull something?
What are you doing over there? You getting work done?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
He's counting money. I can see it. I can see he's got that. But I mean, that's why I love doing this podcast, because you get to explore these completely different approaches to the medium of comics. Right. And I think before the invention of the internet, it was much harder to as easily talk about this kind of stuff. You know, that's why I love having the variety of guests that we have on the show, because I find this endlessly fascinating to have somebody who, you know, does a Spider-Man comic, or someone who does a comic like you know, Misako or Scott McCloud, or, you know, there's all kinds of worlds now all existing at the same time.
It's like a Spider-Verse of cartoons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there's opportunities, I think, now that are bringing in a lot of female voices that would not be in the business otherwise. And I think that also, because of things like manga appealing so much to the female audience globally, we are seeing a completely different type of story being successful. I don't know if you guys feel that way.
No, I think there's truth to that, right? Because, you know, even if this is kind of just to kind of stir the pot a little bit, to like de-nerd the hobby of reading comics, it's fantastic to have female voices, obviously, but also to have, you know, all types of people in the comic book store. You know, I don't go to the shop like I used to, but I go in the shop and it's not, you know, the guys behind the counter don't start hissing when a woman walks in. You know, it's just like, oh, hey, what's up? Here's your pulls. And it's like, this is what it should have been a long time ago.
100%. 100%.
You know, just flattening the curve is what the hobby needed, you know. And I, you know, also feel like there's legitimacy to having, you know, that kind of buying power behind comics. Right. You know, so it's all good. It's all gravy for me. It's all great. All right. I think I have what I was looking for. And thank you guys. I was getting a little nervous, you guys. The chat was mouse quiet. It was church mouse quiet while Misako was talking. And I was like, guys, you got to chef up some questions for me. What are y'all doing? They were like, we're just paying attention. We're just watching. Like, okay, give me some questions. So, guys, I want to give you a preview for next week. Next week, we're going to have Benjamin Clark, who is the curator of the Charles Schulz Museum, is going to be on the show. We're celebrating the 75th anniversary of Peanuts. And who better than to have the curator of the Schulz Museum and also one of the writers on this great book, The Art and Life of the Peanuts Creator and 100 Objects, Charles M. Schulz. I just found out about this book. I didn't know Benjamin had wrote that, so I have some things to learn as well. A couple of weeks ago, I was driving down the street and on our local like news radio station, I heard a clip of Benjamin Clark talking about the Peanuts anniversary. I was like, holy crap, I've been meaning to get him on the show. It's kismet, right? Billy Bob thinks so, right? So, you know, one of the things that this program can bring to you is top flight guests. And I would love to. We had It was Rand Hoppy who was on a long time ago from the Kirby
Kirby
Museum.
Museum, yeah.
Right. So also, like, you know, I have a background in curatorial stuff in managing an art gallery, and I love how these worlds kind of, you know, are now crossing over with each other. Even I would love to have Jenny Robb from the Billy Ireland Museum on at some point as we talk about archiving our history of cartooning, and, you know, beyond just putting a page on a wall, it's kind of like, what are we doing with this ephemera?
You're not gonna pile your body on top of your Leon pages and burn a Viking effigy of you as you go to Valhalla.
Well, now that you say that, that sounds pretty exciting. You know, so, and, you know, I think that's just another leaf on the tree of.
Well, there didn't used to be cartoons in museums.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. And
I
even
mean, that is something that's really fairly recent.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and then, you know, Lucas's museum is opening up next year. So
there was something when Charles Schulz passed. There was a quote I read from the Louvre in France.
The Louvre
in France, that said, with Charles Schulz, the most popular artist in the world.
Yeah,
that's what they call him. That's astonishing. That's just astonishing.
I mean, in our lifetime, there was always Peanuts.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember reading a quote by Milton Caniff, who was sort of the king before Charles Schulz, that when Peanuts came out, it made him sort of reevaluate everything that he did.
Mm.
Right? Because it really changed comic strips. There would be no Garfield, there would be no Calvin and Hobbes, there would be so many,
right.
You know, that idea of that psychological aspect to cartooning,
right?
That interior monologue would not have happened without Schulz,
right?
You know, and it's interesting to see, because I've seen a bunch of stuff this week of the you know, the 50s stuff where the drawing was sort of cuter, you know, the early stuff, you know, and I love that stuff, but it's interesting to see how that changed, you know, like I think somebody even had put up a thing of all the different Snoopies from the beginning all the way to the end. I mean, and he started out as a dog.
Right.
You know, walking like a dog. And then in the end, he was a human with like a dog head.
I'd love to recommend a podcast called Unpacking Peanuts by with Jimmy Gownley and Harold Buchholz. It's I must have 50, maybe 100 episodes, and it's a brilliant podcast series. And they basically I think they started with episode 1, the first episode of Peanuts, and have been moving era by era through his work, and have wonderful guests. Totally worth checking out.
Weren't they? Maybe I'm getting this wrong. Weren't they studying like every year of the strip or something like that? There was some sort of chronological thing they were doing.
Yeah, I think so.
And if you listen, you might hear JAMAR NICHOLAS on one of the episodes, but that's just bragging. You know, before we go, I also wanted to, hold on, let me clear the screen here. I wanted to kind of give another tip of the bucket hat to Raina, who was on the show last week. Let me see if I can find this. This is from Raina's Instagram. She has a new book out, Facing Feelings Inside the World of Raina Telgemeier, which is, as we kind of call in the gallery world, an exhibition catalog. So this is a kind of like companion piece to, they had an exhibition of Raina's work at the Billy Ireland Museum a couple of years ago. And this book just got published, and I think it's wherever books are sold. Raina's such a force in this world that we're in. So you've got some reading to do, you guys.
Love it.
And thanks again for having her and Scott on. What a great get. Eternity Forever says the new Chip Kidd book is called The Essential Peanuts. Yeah, it's all lining up. So I think you have a library list to go check out now. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. I think we did the Lord's work tonight. We're gonna we're gonna get back to the drawing table.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much. Remember what I said. We'll be back here next week for Benjamin Clark. It's gonna be a great show. Please bring your questions, because this is going to be a great one to ask questions for. And thanks again to Misako Rocks for giving us some time tonight. It was very illuminating, and I'm glad that we were here to share it. Guys, Cumberbatch Huckleberry told me that we're in the end game.
Huckleberry Cumberbatch Hound.
Huckleberry Cumberbatch told me that we're in the end game, so I would be remiss if I did not ask you to wash your Kirby hands before you go into that cold, dark night. Thank you, guys. As we start to wrap up, it was a year 6 of Pencil to Pencil.
Yeah, year 6.
Ugh.
So we have 330 some odd episodes.
That's ridiculous. I love it, but I'll be here for the next one if you will. So thank you, guys, and we'll see you. Tell them Billy Bob. Good night, everyone. See you next week.
See you next week. See you in the funny papers.
All right.